Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev.
Good day.
Good day. So we both agreed, well, Bev said it, and I kind of agreed in my head that we don't even know what we're talking about today, which is true for every time we come and do this. We just show up. There's no pre-conversation. There's no, oh, we got to talk about this. These are the topic. We show up, we talk. This is
Yeah.
organic conversations. So hang
Yeah,
with
because you
us
can't,
and see what comes up or not.
I was going to say, you can't control this. I've tried to do topics before and it's like a long time ago. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm going to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Yeah,
Right.
I just don't do well like that.
So
Some
there
people
you go.
do.
Trying to plan our conversations. And yeah, well, we know the topic, but how are we going to let it flow? Right? Our conversations flow, and it's just like any conversation with when you're in a group of people. I mean, we're over here and we're over here and we're over here, but they all tie together. They all blend together and come together in some way, and that's okay. So this is what we do. Like my cup
So how's
still.
it?
Good morning, beautiful.
Good morning. That's a nice cup.
There's a big mug. It's got
Nice.
coffee in it this morning. I'll be real, not tea, coffee.
I, I had my tea already, but I will tell you that it's a double chocolate coffee with like a reishi mushroom with more chocolate in another tea bag. So it's like I just mix them together with some honey. My life is great, right?
That's
That's what I have.
good.
That's what I do,
Make your
and I
heart
enjoy
sing.
my morning. So you're having your tea or your coffee with me this morning, though. So that's
That's right.
awesome.
Because okay, so I'm gonna throw myself under the bus.
Oh gosh.
Uh, Last year, doing Facebook Lives in my groups and everything, and keeping people motivated, and we're in the shutdown and all that, and different ways to keep going, right? Well, I kept going, only I took my workout routine out of it because and excuses are gonna fly. So here we go. I like going to the gym outside of my home. And I really, really liked it. I was a year in, doing real good, consistent, slimming the waist and all that. And then the shutdown happened. And, well, I was mindful of my eating, but no body movement. Um, so then I got in the habit because I was getting up at 4:30 a.m. to be at the gym by 5. Well, then you just sleep in. It's okay. I'll do it today. I'll work out later at home, right? No, it got real comfortable sleeping in and getting up at like 7:30, whatever. Um, so the habit of rest. Um, Now today, I did take yesterday off since it was a holiday. Today, got up and I was at the gym by 5:45 on the treadmill by 5:45. So here we are. I've been going, now let me get this straight. I've been going to the gym for a month and a half already in the afternoon. So I could still sleep in, just saying.
Nothing
And
wrong with that.
no, there's not. However, I have less hours in the day to get things done because I'm sleeping until 7, then going in the gym at the afternoon. So it's a disruption in the afternoon of getting some stuff accomplished. So this morning, I got up. So that's my win for now. I have other wins, but I'm not going to share them on here. But you will know soon.
Gotcha.
It's a secret.
It's nice when you can recognize it's because it's something that you desired. You desired to be back up early.
Yes.
It's a secret.
Yeah. I have secrets. So, oh, well, yeah, secret surprise things coming.
Surprise.
Things are coming.
Surprise.
Let's just put it this way. Good things are coming.
Awesome. But they always are.
Excited. I'm excited about it. But at the same time, right now, I'm just keeping it low key.
You're kind of freezing up today.
Am I? Well, I just plugged in my internet.
Okay.
So, because I was on the Wi-Fi, so I plugged in the internet.
Okay.
Anywho, here we are. So, so celebrating my win. Got up early. Went to the gym, and excited about have it. We all have the same 24 hours in our day. It's just what we utilize those 24 hours for. And I just recently heard somebody talk about time. And he said, if I haven't calculated it yet, but if I have 1,000 seconds, okay, 1,000 seconds in a day, I got to make those seconds count. So I have to be very mindful. What am I going to use my seconds for? And then there's another conversation that I heard was, now that mind you, these are all like business leaders and mentors and teachers, and another one said, my time is very valuable, so I get to pick and choose how I utilize my time. And so these things have been being presented to me over and over a course of several weeks. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm listening. I'm all right, universe. I'm listening. I get it. And it has been a desire within myself to start getting up early again. So yeah, and I was just being easy with myself in that transition. What I do know, though, which is this is a benefit to getting up early, is I'll probably sleep a whole lot better at night.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking forward to that too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I would say for me, my win is so when you're talking about utilizing your time, I agree. I noticed, I don't know if it was Sunday, because I worked Saturday, I'd done a few massages that day, and then I was off Sunday, and it's like I didn't feel like doing anything, so I didn't. But I messed around on my phone for probably a huge portion of my day. And the next day it's like, no, that's not my win. That's not how how I want to spend my time. My win was for me spending my time, because our time is valuable. I don't believe that a 40-hour work week is realistic anymore, because I think that that's not living life. That's living for somebody else. That's living somebody else's life. That's not, and then you walk away with not even having, for me, you walk away with not even having what you thought you were going to have from it, whether it was a monetary thing or whatever, but you lose time with your families, you lose time for yourself. So yesterday I got up and it's like, I was not messing with my phone. I didn't touch my phone. The only thing I did is because my poor kitty cat, the night before I had went to put him back in the house and his neck was all swollen up. So it's like, okay, what is going on? And he was breathing fine. Eyes weren't dilated, wasn't shaking, all these things that I look for. So I know he got stung by something. And then I asked my universal team, and my universal team is telling me he got stung by a bee. So I knew he's going to be all right. The next morning I go out there and he's all puffy in the lips, and I'm like, okay, I want to give him some Benadryl, because now I know I can actually get to him, because he's one to not take it. And cats hate Benadryl. They just absolutely do. They hate it. They'll start foaming at the mouth and everything. So I had to do this and run over and give it to him. But that was the only thing I did. I looked that up on the internet real quick to see what the dosage was, and I dropped that way back because he's a small cat. But within a small amount of time, he was fine. But the thing was, that was all I saw. There was messages on my phone and stuff like that, and I just put my phone down. It's like, no, because I have spent most mornings I'd get up, you're just barely waking up, and you're not even fully aware of anything, and I'm grabbing my phone. Maybe I'm looking at cryptocurrency. Maybe I'm looking at Facebook. I'm checking my messages. No. not anymore. So yesterday morning I got up and then read. I just got my cup of tea, went out and sat outside, got my book and sat and read for a while. And then it's like, as things come up, as my intuition would guide me to do something, I'd get up and go do something.
Yeah. Awesome.
Which is funny, but I haven't been listening to it very well the whole time because I went to go do some. I go to work the other day and my intuition told me to grab my cards or my book or something, and I get there and I didn't. It's like, and I knew right then that I needed those. I mean, I didn't need them, but they would have been very beneficial for the day. So it's so funny because that's happened to me a couple times. So it's like little gentle reminders, because my focus is to trust my intuition and listen and follow through. Gentle reminders that I wasn't listening because it's such a small little tiny whisper almost. But also recognizing, so I can go right into that and say, also recognizing, I'm recognizing without having to say anything out loud, like, oh yeah, I thought that already, or I knew you were going to say that, or whatever. I have confirmations. Before I used to celebrate those confirmations, like, oh, I knew you were going to say that, or what, however. But now I'm like, now I'm just in myself, because it doesn't, everything outside of myself doesn't matter. I don't have to tell someone, because then it almost comes across, maybe they might associate it with bragging or whatever. And it's my celebration. It's not a celebration I have to have outside of myself. It's a celebration within myself. And I'm like, okay. And it's a constant reminder, like, you're on track. You're hearing these things, you're noticing things, you're all these things. So it's kind of exciting.
What I recognize is when there was a time earlier in my days when I was learning about receiving signs from the universe, and I struggled with it, as do a lot of people when they're learning, right?
Yeah.
But anything that we're learning that's new is it seems difficult, and then we want to make sure we're getting it right. And so I would get discouraged because I wanted to see the signs from the universe, but I felt like I wasn't seeing them for whatever reason, many reasons. So now I see them all the time, like all the time, constant. It is. I recently took an intuition development class, just refresher, and see how the teacher taught, and gain some more knowledge, and she said, okay, keep a journal of your signs, and just make notation what you saw and what it represented and all that other stuff. If I would have done that, I would have spent so much time in my day on making notes. And I stopped, because I was like, that I would have been writing like all day, grabbing my phone if I'm out and about, making notes. And I'm just like, I don't have time to do this. I see them, I recognize, and I think that was just a confirmation for me. But what I wanted to point out was that when I'm having conversations with either students or other people who do this as well, I get a sense in me that because I do see them, see signs, universals, the universal signs so frequently, I get excited about it. But when I share it, I start to feel like kind of bad, because I do see them so much and the other person is still learning. So I recognize it. Like, I will, they call it dumbing down, but will keep my excitement smaller, so I don't, because the other person is like struggling and they're having feeling in lack of, and not good enough, and I'm not getting it right. And so by my excitement that I see them all these the signs all the time, is like a confirmation for them that they're not getting it right. And I know what that feels like, because I've been in that situation too, where roles were reversed, where somebody else was talking about it and I was just like, I'm not getting this, man. It sucks. And now I recognize I'm on the other side of that, and how I'm responding to the other party. And it's like, you know what? I can encourage you, but the fact is that it's not that you're not good enough at it. It's just you're still practicing.
It's true.
And to share in the excitement, like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, Bev, that you see those signs all day. And I'm so excited that, and I'm looking forward to when I get to see them, or I'm more in a space of acknowledging them more often. Right. So
Yeah. No, it's true. I totally agree with that. And it's like, for me, it's, even when I was on the opposite side of that, experiencing that, I'd be like, I want to feel that. And you notice it, well, for me, I noticed it like when we were in the bigger groups. Like if you had a class and you had a big group going on and people would start talking about their experience, it's like, I want to experience that. And that was that's the way it felt for me at that time too. That's exactly how it felt, instead of being like, man, I wonder what that feels like. And that's just a matter of where we're at, like energetically, where are we at right now? Am I in a space of lack? Am I in a space of abundance? There's like so many different, am I in the space of a victim? Am I in joy right now? There's like so many things, and we see things so differently depending on how we're feeling at any given moment.
and it's true that when we're in that space of lack and victim mentality, well, gee, I want to feel that. Like I'm
Yeah,
feeling left out, I'm not being
yeah,
included, I'm excluded, I'm not getting it right, I don't deserve it. Apparently, my guides or angels are thinking I'm not smart enough or whatever, right? That's totally lack and victim mentality. Whereas, like what you just said, wow, I'm so curious as to what that's like to do that more often, or even experience it for the first time. And that's learning mentality, right? That's a student's mentality, that we're gonna open ourselves up and be curious as to uh, what is I'm just I would love to know what that feels like. So I'm going to keep practicing and get better at this.
and it helps you recognize, like it for me at the point that I'm at right now. It helps me recognize wounds. Why am I feeling like that? Why do I feel like a child? Because to me, in a lot of that ways, that's a child behavior. So that takes me all the way back to being a kid. And
Yeah.
it's like, and I may not know the exact situation where it came from, but I can be like telling my inner kid, my inner child, you know what, it's all right. You were doing the best you could back then, and it's like, it's just talking to yourself so differently, letting them know that you're loved. You're going to figure this out. This is easy. We had just learned a different way. Now we're learning a whole new way. It's okay. And like, but it's like, I keep telling people, I see that inner child and I keep giving that inner child hugs. Like, you're doing great. Like, everything's fine. And it's so weird, because it's not something out of a habit, but I'm talking to myself. I'm telling myself these things. I'm telling myself that it's okay. And that's been a process, because if we would have had this conversation a year ago, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. But that just goes to show you how much, even though I felt like I was evolving then, now like I've evolved more. And it's not like and it's just my journey. It's my evolution. Someone else's way far has been past all this stuff already. Kudos to them. I'm just happy with where I'm at right now. So it doesn't matter if I'm to the point where I'm not. It doesn't matter if I see you or see all the things the way somebody else does, because I realize how unique we are, and we're in different spaces at any given moment. We're feeling something different in any moment, happy or sad, or melancholy, or just in peace. It's just, you perceive things. Your gauge is so different by how you're feeling. Really, we receive everything that way. It's so crazy to me. I've had exciting days, because I've been in a higher space than I had been. So I'm driving home and it's like, my mom's in the truck. Like, I know she's in the truck. My brother's in the truck. Jim's in the truck. And I'm like, oh, great grandma's here. Oh no, that's not great grandma. That's grandma. Like, and I'm like having a good time driving down the road. I'm like, okay, what do you guys want to listen to? And it's like different songs would come on that I hadn't heard. I'm listening to Pandora, so different songs would come on that I hadn't heard in forever. And it's
Yeah.
like I would just laugh and, had a good old blast all the way home. And it's just a moment. It's just a moment.
And it can just be so fun. You like hit so many there. We could have so many conversations right now about what you just talked about. It's so incredible. And I hope people catch on to everything Bev just was saying, because yeah, it can be easy. It can be easy.
We just have to be in wonder.
Do it.
I said we have to be in wonder, just like a kid. You're in wonder about like everything instead of like, that's not, how come I don't have that? And how come I didn't get that? Well, I wonder how I could get that. I wonder how that would show up in my experience.
And that's just it. A child, an infant who's learning to crawl, they're going to crawl to every object they can see, and they're going to touch it, and they're going to put it in their mouth, and they're going to, they incorporate all their senses.
Yes.
Right. And then when they can walk, now there's a little bit higher level. They've discovered things on their level on the floor. Now they can walk. And so now they're at a different level. So where their eyes can see, and now they got to try and touch and everything. Right. And so the curiosity takes you completely out of that victim mentality and the not good enough stories. It's just saying, hey, I'm willing to check this out, try this, experience that. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it. It might mean I will like it. At least give it a go. And have fun with it.
Yes.
We just, and then again, it's keeping that little person inside, that it's safe. I do that too now. I'm like, we're okay. It's cool. We can have fun here. We don't have to be so serious about this anymore. We're not gonna get in trouble. Even if we do get in trouble, I'm an adult and I can tell you to fuck off.
Right. That's right.
Right? You can't.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, put me on restriction, please. Put me in my bedroom. Let me just, go meditate or journal or read a book. Please do that. Whereas a child, you're like, that just means, you've just been totally rejected. Go to your room, right? I can't even say it mean because that is just not in me. But in that angry state, a parent tells their child to, go to your room, you're on restriction. That was just devastating because we were being rejected. We weren't feeling loved or accepted. It was complete rejection. And as an adult now, I'm like, go ahead. Tell me to go to my room. I dare you. Because I'm going to love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, I'm grounded? Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking about that. Yeah, I'm thinking about that as you're saying. It's like, man, did they realize they were doing us a favor by saying you're grounded? Like, I mean, in an energetic sense, like me being grounded is like, no, mama. You just said, you said you're grounded. That means that's a message to you. You're grounded. Now you're grounded. Get yourself in, go put your feet in some dirt, woman.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So I can look at this from an opposite side now because I've had my Vivi was around yesterday and she was being silly, running around. It was fun to watch her, how with just little things that were around her, how she can keep herself busy. But there was a time, and I'm gonna kind of switch gears on that when earlier in the day she comes in, we were in the kitchen, and her mom said something to her, to stop doing something, and Vivi walked over and like tried to kick. She's like 2.5, like tried to kick at her mom, and I walked up behind her and swatted her on the butt, and then she turned around and looked at me like this. I'm telling you, this girl. And then I said, then we decided, because, it's an energy thing. It's an energy thing. She's around. Ariana says that she likes to go, she'll go like hide in a closet. She'll go into a very dark, quiet place and sit there for a little bit. She'll hide like underneath the TV in a tiny space underneath the TV because of energy. It's energy. Like for me, it's like paying attention and being aware of your children when they're coming at you angry. So the opposite side of it, instead of sending him to the room and grounding him and spanking him and all the other things, recognizing what energy they're kind of putting out, because they don't have filters. Like we've learned filters as we've grown up, but they don't have those filters. So they just automatically react to the situation the way they know how. Right. I don't know where she got these looks from, but it's like, I was like, Vivi, Nana, you don't look at your grandmother that way.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to watch just the energy and how something simple that I was told before, that they can go jump in a shower, or they can jump in a bath, they can play in water or whatever, because that helps to cleanse them and kind of balance out their energies and stuff. And it's like, if you don't believe me, give it a try. Because I can tell you, I've seen it a million times. And we have so much, we're bombarded with energy these days. Like with the 5G and, you know, everybody's got Wi-Fi and it's got to be stronger and more powerful all the time. That's why I think the internet companies can't keep up with us. You know, I just don't think they can, because there's too much of a demand and everybody wants the best of the best, and they're about willing to pay for it. But that being said, we got all this energy that's around us all the time, like loud.
Mhm.
And I'm out like 15, 20 miles out of town, and I recognize it more now than I did then. It's like, even when it's quiet, I hear like tones. I still hear tones. Like it's not just quiet. I've been in a cave before where you can't hear anything and it's completely dark. You don't hear anything. It's completely, there's nothing. So it just blows my mind lately. It's like recognizing a lot of people might be struggling right now. We go back to, the benefit of us being in a higher energy and recognizing, can we rise above that? Oh, you bet. Are we controlled by that? No. If we're told that we are, we are. If we believe it, we are. But I'm just recognizing people are kind of willy-nilly and kind of in a shorter temper, shorter space. They seem to react more reactive, I guess would be probably the best way to say it lately. I've noticed that around people.
I think some of that's contributed to, we have these busy lives, and then all of a sudden last year we're in a lockdown. Now we have to adapt to life and being around the people that we live with, but we're not really communicating with them, or because we don't spend a lot of time, right? We eat,
Yeah.
sleep, and then everybody's off the next day to whatever, work and school and all that. Then we come back, we eat and sleep, and then back, right? So we spend what, maybe 4 to 5 hours a night with these people, and not 24/7. And we went into this 24/7 experience, and people freaked the hell out, depression, all these different things, anger, a lot of anger. And now we're going back to, now we can go out and do things, and people are hiring and go back to work, and it's another readjustment. I honestly here, okay, so I gotta throw this in there because this is a thought I had, and this is just funny. It's gonna I was contemplating, I'm like, okay, what if, well, I'm thinking of this for a couple different reasons, but what if we are, and I think I've mentioned this before, an alien science project, okay? Just humor me, because I just have these crazy thoughts and I just think they're funny. So we're the aliens science project. So here we are, and we're bumping around trying to figure out life. But what came to me though, from a business standpoint, is, when you're playing a video game and the idea is to score the highest points, what if we're the avatars for the aliens and we're here to score the highest points? Which would be, what we all give our attention to, most people would think would be money. Who has the most money? Or the most assets, or what is their value on paper, on their profit and loss statement or balance sheet, right? And so that, I was just contemplating that. I was thinking, wow, so is it winning the game by how much money you have, or is it winning the game by how spiritual you are? It's just different things I was contemplating. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there because it was just a random thought that I've been having.
Gotcha. And to me, it'd be, how happy are you? To me, the most value in a life would be, how happy are you? Who's the happiest person? Why are they happy all the time? It's like, then it'd be like almost dissecting that information, like how, then they can screw with your emotions, but when someone's like, meh,
Hmm.
Oh, so that happened. Okay. I'm still going to steer through this. I'm still going to find peace. I'm still going to find happiness. So to me, it doesn't, because money can't buy you happiness, right? It just can't.
Right.
It can't buy you happiness. It might give you some freedom for things, and it might give you some freedom for a while. But if you're in a, even once you retain all that money, if you're in a lack mentality, then you're constantly worried about how it can be taken care of or taken away from you. So you might have glimpses of happiness, but you don't sustain them. So happiness it's a totally an inside job.
Yeah, completely. And I want to throw this in here also is that I listen to Ed Milet a lot, and that's a conversation he has with several people is um, about money and happiness. He goes, I know a lot of people who are broke and they're as happy as can be. And I know a lot of people who have money who are happy. But I also know a lot of people who are broke and very unhappy. And I know a lot of people who are wealthy and are very unhappy. And he said, for me, he says, I was happy even when I was broke, but being happy and wealthy is so much better
Absolutely.
because you have more options, you have more choices, you're treated differently, or you have a different status, you have, right, you all these perks, there's perks to being wealthy, and whatever your definition of wealthy is, that's up to you. It's going to be different for each of us.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Nope, totally makes sense. But it's like it's not. But at that time, for him, he's not dependent upon that wealth to make him happy. And that's the positive. But and I also know. I mean, I say I know. I haven't had the actual. I guess I kind of have had the experience of having the money and then being happy. You know what I mean? Recognizing that how the happiness is totally within inside myself. It really doesn't have anything to do with money. It was me recognizing that I can be happy. Because we talked before, I think probably even our very first recordings, like it was a struggle for me to even be happy. It was a struggle for me to even show any type of enthusiasm for anything like that because I was so tight and closed off. But I was not, and I wasn't happy at that time. I might have thought I was happy. Oh no, I'm happy sometimes. I'm happy. I have happy moments. But I think I have more I'm happy more often. Exactly. It was like, but that was glimpses. And it wasn't anything wrong because it was only what I allowed myself to have. So I've like gone through so many different changes of things that I'm looking at within myself. Man, I'm telling you, I'm saying all this stuff out loud and I'm like, I used to be the person like, what the fuck are these people talking about? Like, are they stupid? Not, and I didn't say, are they stupid, but like, this is ridiculous. How do I even get to this? But even though I was in that space of probably anger, frustration. How do I get to this? I still was asking the questions, not even recognizing. I look back at, and a good way of looking at things is like, if I look back at posts from, I'm telling you not to look, spend so much time. Not spending so much time on the media and stuff, but I would look back at old posts and I'd be like, holy shit, I posted that in 2017. I posted that. I was talking that way in 2012. They were just glimpses of stuff. And now it's like become my lifestyle or my way of living. So it's just funny. It's funny because it's not a race. It's not a race. We're all going to get there if you so choose to allow yourself. Really, if you just let go. It's not even allowing yourself, it's just letting go. And I've had a lot of stuff to let go of that I was holding on to.
Yeah.
I had this huge bag of crap that was behind me. I probably had to use both hands. Probably that's why my fists were always bound up because I was carrying
Right.
that shit everywhere I was going. And now it's like I don't have to. It's a funny thing. It's funny because it's lighter. Everything feels lighter. The conversations are lighter. The way you look at life is lighter. You don't spend so much time dwelling on things. Things don't get to you like they would have gotten to you before. Uh, Even recently, there's a person that's been in my life that has been not a. I would probably put bad energy towards that relationship. And I've talked about it before. Like I'd have moments of clarity, like I'm just going to send love and light, which I've learned to send love and light. But it was a weird thing that happened like a couple days ago. I just felt all of a sudden felt this relief that I no longer had this anger or this hatred or any feelings towards this person, this situation or anything like that. I just don't. I'm like kind of like wipe dusting my hands off. Like it's not, and not before it'd be more of a defensive thing to dusting my hands off, like protecting my energy and clearing myself. But now it's like, that was a good lesson. That I learned a lot from that person. And that person, and it's funny because people don't change I think for a great big reason. So maybe their job here is to continue being that victim or that person or whatever, because it helps each person grow in their own way. It's like, okay, this next lifetime, I'm going to be the asshole. And then it's like everybody, no matter what you do and try to change me, you're going to realize that you're not supposed to change me. First of all, I'm not meant to be changed. You're going to realize that I'm here for your lessons, for you to learn. And then once you've learned that lesson, you're going to move on. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that it's you. Congratulations, Grasshopper. You have now made it to the next level.
That's great. Yeah, we do. We have so much to learn from each other. In every situation, it doesn't matter how, I mean, really, it doesn't matter how ugly the situation is or how amazing it is. There's even in the moments of joy, there's something to learn.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because we talk about the trauma, like all the trauma, this, trauma, that, and all the pain, the anger, all that stuff. And there's so much to learn from all that. Absolutely, there is. And that's probably where we're going to get our greatest lessons from. But we also, it's important to remember that even in those joyful moments, there's something to be learned.
And that's the conversation. That's where the conversation can go.
Yeah. So it's you know, when I was moving in from the lower vibrational emotions, and I would get a glimpse of what joy felt like, or even just having my body relaxed and not be completely stressed out, I got a glimpse, right? Like you were talking about your words, there was a glimpse that I would experience that relief, but then go right back into the old stories. But each glimpse gave me more desire to be in that joy. But what I think happened, what could happen, it may have happened for me as well, that in my joy, I probably didn't give as much attention to learning that I did when I would focus on the traumas, right? So I'm having a joyful moment, I'm being in the moment, and I'm recognizing that because I'm being in joy, right? And it feels really good. So dropping the awareness of I'm still learning. So joy and learning didn't come. I was just being.
Yes.
Where, okay, I'm having an angry moment. What is this all about? Where is this showing up right now, right? And now all the questions and the contemplation and the analyzing and the journaling and the full moon ceremony, right, is all like very defined and relevant and just in my face. But then I'm in my joy, and now all the relaxation, it's just, I'm in the joy. So I'm just talking through this because that's just something I'm recognizing, that when I'm in the joyful moments, it may be like I'm just feeling like I've attained joy, and I just need to maintain this joy, keep doing what I can do to be in this joy, which means I'm not giving the attention to the past, to the hurt in child that's has been with me for so long, right? So do you have anything on that? Because I'm just talking this out right now. It's just wild coming up.
Yeah. Well, we've both done this when we're in a great space. We ask, well, how can I feel more of this? How can I feel this more often, or whatever? So that's one way. But other ways, it is just being. You're just being, and you're being happy all the time. But how you started out the conversation was like looking at things from, instead of like looking at it like the things, that the trauma, everything else that went wrong. Just like I was doing like last week, I was noticing I was remembering having memories of being with my mom, driving in the car, waving my arm out the window,
Yeah.
things that I didn't think about because I was so caught in trauma before. I was so caught in the victim mentality because at that time I felt like a victim, but it's like, and that's all right. But I'm past that point now. So it's almost the same thing you're saying that well, kind of, first of all, it's changing the perspective. It's not looking at the traumas anymore. It's looking at and if you don't remember any of the good stuff when you were a kid, like ask yourself, what were the good times I had when I was a kid? Because somebody's going to remind you, somebody's going to be having a story around you. You're like, I don't remember that. But there's going to be some stuff, and then it starts chipping away at this victim, this all this protection you had on yourself because you were this victim and you lost. I mean, for how many years I was saying the story, I would say I don't remember my childhood. I don't remember my childhood. I'm remembering my childhood, and I'm remembering good stuff from my childhood. So it's like it's just putting energy into those spaces. But no, I would say the best that we can do when we're in those spaces, I feel like, is just be asking, like, how can I have more of this? I mean, like excited about it. Like you say, we've talked about before, milking it, right? Because I'd be milking those positive moments. Before Ariana and Vivi came out yesterday, I'm all excited. I'm like a freaking puppy dog with my tail wagging because I'm walking out to open up the gate and I'm thinking, oh my God, Vivi's gonna come out here and it's gonna be so exciting and so much fun. And it was a blast of a day. Before I would have been like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so tired at the end of the day. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle all this. I'm gonna be, all these things. And now it's like I don't take full responsibility like I used to take responsibility for making sure everybody was taken care of and everything else. It's like we're grown people here. We can all take care of this little munchkin running around. So
Yeah. That's wonderful. I like the idea of I want to practice being more aware of that. Like when I'm in my joy, what's the learning process here in this space?
just to me, I mean, I don't know for sure, but to me, it feels like it's just to be in that space. It's just to be like, right now I'm being in the now. This is what it feels like to be in the now. I can be in the now all the time. I can feel like this all the time.
As being more aware of it though is,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And I for sure I recognize, like I teach that be in the present moment is what we have right here right now. So this is where we want to practice our joy, because that joy is contributing to our manifestations, right? So we've said this over and over and over. Having more acknowledgement and awareness of being in the joy of uh, relishing in it.
Yeah.
And having more gratitude for it. Express gratitude for the past, for the trauma, for all that stuff, for all the learning. Expressing gratitude, not that I haven't expressed gratitude, but being more aware of expressing gratitude in the moment of experiencing the joy.
Yeah.
And it can just be all internal. I mean, you can be external about it. It could be like, wow, this is such an amazing day. Thank you so much, Bev, and express my gratitude towards Bev for her being here and the wonderful conversations, because this does bring joy to my heart to do this. But in those family gatherings when you're just laughing and having a great time, it's like you can externally acknowledge the people who are there and how much of a great time you're having, or internally just expressing that gratitude. It could go either way. Just having more awareness around that, like you're attained this way of being compared to where you used to be. Mm-hmm. That's a celebration in itself. That like, it's just like, wow.
It is wow. And it's just like you're saying, what are you learning? Well, that's what you're learning. You're learning to be present. You're learning that you are present. You're learning that you are aware. Because I think if we put too much thought into that space, the next thing you know, you're taking yourself out of that space of being. You're like, then you're into analyzing. You know what I mean? You're trying to process and everything else. So I think when we're in the space of joy, the learning is learning to be aware of it. And it's funny because I'm reading a book right now, and it's really they're talking about being, but it's being aware of yourself, like being aware of all the stuff inside of yourself, and then being aware of the energies and things that are around you. Aware of the how other people are feeling around you, but being aware of yourself, like being aware of how do you feel? What are you thinking right now? What are you saying right now? It's just all these things. And it was a good description to me of being, because it's like a lot of times I was trying to look and like, what does that mean? It's like just being in the right now. And that may be me doing nothing. Like, right. We've talked about that 100 times, but it's just that whole learning is just to learning how to be right now. Because we've all been told, I'm sure at some point or another, most of us, you need to go sit in the corner and think about what you did wrong, or you need to go sit in your room and think about what you did wrong. So you're analyzing and you're not even but that's what we learned. It was a learned behavior. We weren't focused, or we weren't taught to focus on being right now. Take some deep breaths. We tell the kids, the babies. Oh, then they start getting into a space. Okay, let's take some deep breaths together. And that doesn't just help the baby, that helps the mama. That helps the dad. That helps the caretaker. Because when you're taking breaths, it's not because they're like barometers. They're letting you know exactly what's going on in the energy around. If they're freaking out, that means that you're freaking out on the inside. Or if you're angry, they're angry. And you're like, what the hell are they angry for? Well, take some deep breaths, because it takes you out of that space right now. Why I jumped right into that all of a sudden, but it's just another way of getting more into the now, more centered.
And kids are a great reflection of us.
They really are, whether you like it or not, all the way from an infant up.
Yep. And then okay, so imagining, so when we think about moving into the identity of a control freak, that just explains a little more as to, or in a different way, as to when you're a child and you're receiving the energy of the adults around you, and you're as a child, you're playing, you're laughing, you're having a good time, and then all of a sudden something flips and now the child is angry and frustrated. Well, maybe an adult or somebody walked into the room bringing that energy with them. So then that would contribute to the child energetically feeling out of control. Now, this is just something else I'm processing because it's a different way of looking at it. That when we learn that as a child, we're not in control, because we're not taught, or weren't taught about energy and how to move through those emotions differently, or what energy is, or that we absorb energy, or even the parent recognizing that's what's happening with the child, that the child has absorbed this energy from this person who just walked in the room. And so the child just completely having an out of control experience with their emotion or their energy. And then getting older, we do things to make us feel like we're in control. Thus the control freak personality. So wow, that's interesting to digest today too.
It is, and because it's like that's where drinking, like, right, that comes in. Now if you thinking about it from a child perspective, if I'm at a place and it's like I'm getting in trouble because now I'm reacting towards energy. I don't know why I'm reacting, and my energy shifted all of a sudden because that you're a kid and you're like a sponge, because you're trying to absorb everything around you that you possibly can, because that's what's going to help you in your life. That's what's going to help keep you alive moving forward, we think. I mean, I've learned otherwise, but it's like that they totally take on that whole perspective. And now when they get to become an adult, like, they feel like it's hard to be at parties because you got all these different personalities coming together and not everybody's happy, at least not a lot of parties that I went to. So the drinking would almost the drinking or the drugs would almost put me at the same level as everybody else. So you were at a even kill kind of place where, it was a little bit more balanced in that aspect, or a little bit more, well, I wouldn't call it harmony, but it was a little bit more balanced, because the balance is not always a good thing to me. As far as that kind of stuff goes, when you're kind of fitting into the whole situation. But we learn all that stuff, and we put up all these shields and stuff, these filters that we don't handle things. And a child, they don't have those filters. Man, there's such a huge indication. It's like you just said, they can go from being happy to next thing you know, they're flipping their lid, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And you react. That parent will react to that instance that child is doing it, because which they don't recognize, they're automatically reacting to the energy that that child's putting out. So then they're giving it exactly what's
Yeah.
been given to them, because it's been in this cycle, right? It's been this cycle that it's like that infinity thing. It's like it's been a cycle that's been going back and forth, back and forth. But now we're at a space where it doesn't have to go back and forth anymore. That's where this wonderful learning gets to come forward. That's where all of our, it's all right for us to have thoughts of our own, and it's all right for us to pursue these things. And I don't have to go get a degree to tell me, oh, that's not the way it is. No, life is our degree. Like, look around you. We're learning every single moment. There's plenty of experiences around us. Plenty.
Yep. And also when you think about that, the alcohol and the addiction, the drugs and all that is, especially with alcohol, is how many times when you were, I know for me it was a lot. So when you're younger, in that programming state, you know, up to 7 years old, is how many times have you heard your parents say, oh, it's just a bad day, I need a drink. Oh, I'm so stressed, I need a drink. Oh, this is wrong, I need a drink. And they're
Yeah.
talking about alcohol, right? And so you learn that as well, that is having an alcoholic drink is going to soothe the emotion that you're experiencing. And so we get old enough and we start sneaking the alcohol, or sneaking out to parties and wanting to be cool or whatever that might be. And so it's just a learned behavior as well, that take this outside external substance to put it inside your body to help your body be relaxed or even be joyful.
It's
So
true.
much to digest in our conversations today.
It's see, that because it's never planned, and that's why sometimes we'll talk and it's like we're all over the place. Well, I'm all over the place. That's me. It's like whatever comes out, whatever comes out at any given moment, because we perceive things so differently. I mean, not we don't perceive things so differently. I mean, on an individual basis, we perceive things differently. We agree on many things.
Yeah, and you had said that earlier, that like in this moment, this is how I feel or what I believe. You said something along that lines, and it's the same thing for people who write books. Is they're writing a book in the moment of their beliefs, of what they've experienced or how they process something or how they move through something, and so they're writing that book in the moment, and then they could write a book a year or 5 years later, and it's going to be on a completely different level because they've evolved, and now their next book or books have evolved with them. This is really obvious with Wayne Dyer and his life process. And so anytime we're doing anything, it's because this is what we know in this moment. And it's
That's
okay,
awesome. It's okay.
because we're all evolving. We're it's
That's
constant
right.
evolution of getting, being and doing better, being and doing better. And so even in the week between our podcasts, we're learning things outside of ourselves from other people. We're learning things from our higher self, from source. And then we come and we have a conversation. And it's just as we are growing in ourselves and being and doing better, then we present that information as we receive it and explain it in a way that we know how to help others. Right. And then so it's just this, again, it's just this helping hand. We're just putting a hand out to, um, oh, in some cases, drag you along, but
Sometimes.
but to help you along your life journey, and get you to a space. It's not my job to get you anywhere, but present the information to you so you can get yourself to a space where you're feeling that joy and excitement about life. Really, that's what it is. It's about life.
I agree. And it's like, and it's celebrating, right? You said earlier, appreciating. So appreciating the people around you, appreciating the things around you, appreciating your environment around you, appreciating your home. But as you were talking, I was like, man, like really appreciating and celebrating my universal team, because it's like they've been on my side this whole time and been like, come on, woman, figure this out. And now they're like, yeah, she's finally starting to get some stuff. She made it to 50.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm having a moment. Well, I wanted to look something up real quick. I don't know if you saw it. It was something I shared and on Facebook. Let's see if I can find it real quick because they're so funny. Here it is. Okay, so it's a picture of an angel with a really like questionable face, like a WTF face. Okay, it says, how your guides be looking after they just sent you a feather, 11 synchronicities, 2 angel numbers, and a chinchilla knocking at your window, and you still missed the message.
That's funny. That's funny, but that's how it is early on. That's how it is.
I'm like, yep, funny. That's my guides. That's my angels. They're just like, seriously? We're still doing this?
And you're right. We do have messages, like you said, if we wrote it down. I'm at a point where if I wrote it down, before Jim had passed, he had said to me, man, what he says, you think it really there's anything about these numbers, things and all that? And I said, it really depends on each individual. How does it resonate with you? How does it feel towards you? I said, for me, it resonated with me. I said, for me, I'm all about symbolism. And I said, all these things that happen around me were symbols letting me know something else. It's letting me know I'm on the right track. Everything's okay. You know, just like I've heard people talk about deja vu, and deja vu is a nice way. Some people believe that deja vu is like letting them know that they're on the right track. So if one of my family members was having a struggling with life and wondering why they're here and, you know, all this other stuff, and they keep having these deja vu moments, it's just letting them know it's okay. You're right where you're supposed to be, because we start doubting ourselves and questioning things. But while our guides are like right with us, throwing tomatoes at us with these huge signs that say, I love you. You're doing a great job. Yeah. Keep moving forward. Go this way. No, go this way. I mean, there's all these things that are happening around us all the time.
You're other right.
That's right. That's funny. That's funny. No, just sit down for 5 minutes. Just sit down for 5 minutes and take some breaths and recognize this is so much easier than it really is, the way it appears, because you get stuck in this idea of life and the grindstone and having to do things on a regular basis, all these things, having to do these things, right? Needing to do these things, all these bad feeling ideas that pop into our heads, these words that have been taught to us. And it's like, take the time, slow down and take the time, recognize the stuff that's around you. The more you take a deep breath, the more you're going to recognize how many messages you're getting on a daily basis, like all day long. You overhear conversations, you get messages on your phone, you see something on Facebook, you're driving down the road and you see a bird, or you see an antelope, or you see something that you don't normally see all the time, or maybe you see something that you do see all the time. Like recognizing all these things that are around you. There's so many amazing gifts that are around us every day for us to notice and to appreciate more of life. And the more that we get into that space of appreciation, the more our lives become just fuller. That's where the abundance is. It's not the amount of dollars that I have in my checking account or I have in my wallet. It's all these wonderful moments that I get to experience. Having friends like you, like these soulmates that we have all around us, because I believe we have numerous soulmates. All these people that are there that are there for you. Blah, blah, blah. Exactly. But it's like, it's so awesome. And the more that you appreciate those people that are around you like that, the more they start showing up. They come out of the woodwork, like they're everywhere. So it's just take time to appreciate, take some breaths.
I think that's a great place to leave this. I love it. Good job, Bev. Thanks for your words.
Thank God you didn't plan that.
We sound so wise sometimes.
Which that's funny, because I just had a client recently. She says, I don't know how I ended up, but she says, I'm on your guys' page on YouTube. She says, I found you on YouTube. And she said, I didn't know. And she says, man, you two girls are wise women. That's what she said. So it's so hilarious. So we have another viewer on there that started following us recently. So,
Hey, that's
so she just cracks me up.
Celebrate.
Yeah, yeah,
Wise
yeah,
women.
she was gonna go burn. She says, I guess I need to write some stuff down and burn it. And when she said that, I didn't catch it until later on when she said that she started watching us. I'm like, oh, we must have been talking about
Oh, yeah.
burning some stuff at that time.
Awesome. That's good news. I love it. So thank you so much for your time and energy. We feel blessed that you do watch us or listen to us. And of course, the YouTube is way more better to watch because you get to see our expressions and silliness. But we definitely value your time and in so much gratitude for you as the listeners for hopefully taking what we share and implementing it into your life, even if it was just one little piece of the podcast. And if you have any questions or comments, of course, you can put them in the comments below or send us an email, amieandbev@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Great. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Yes. Make it fabulous.